Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are taking a fascinating, really foundational journey into the absolute most complex machine on Earth. And that is the human body. Have you ever actually stopped to just think about how you are put together? It's a total marvel of biological engineering. So, we're going to break down the architecture of you, starting from the tiniest, beginner-level microscopic building blocks, and then we're going to build all the way up to the massive, interconnected systems that literally keep you alive, breathing, and thinking every single day.
Okay, let's dive into this with a question that might seem kind of simple at first, but is actually deeply profound. How is a random pile of microscopic cells organized to create you? Think about it. You start as a single cell, right? And that multiplies into trillions. But a random pile of trillions of cells isn't a human being. It's just a puddle. For that puddle to become you, those cells absolutely need structure. They need instructions. They need a perfectly designed hierarchy.
So here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with a core metaphor. Your body is a city. Then we'll cover the 4 tissue types, the major body systems, take a deep dive into digestion, another deep dive into circulation, and we'll wrap it all up with homeostasis. Let's get right into section 1. Your body is a city. As we establish this foundation, remember that your body is not just a random pile of biological bricks. It is a highly structured metropolis. If your body is a city, then your cells, they're the individual workers. They are the absolute basic building blocks of life. Now, when you group similar workers together to collaborate on a very specific job, you get tissues. These are like the city's work teams. Combine different tissues together and you construct organs, which act just like specialized buildings. And finally, when multiple organs collaborate, they form systems. These are the massive city departments coordinating everything to keep your internal metropolis thriving. Moving on to section 2, the 4 tissue types. This is the crucial middle layer. So, the crucial point here is that tissues are the essential middle layer of organization. They literally bridge the massive gap between microscopic, invisible cells and large, complex organs like your heart or your stomach. Without tissues, there's absolutely no teamwork. Let's look at the first 2 types of these specialized teams. First up, we have epithelial and connective tissues. Think of epithelial tissue as tightly packed sheets. It's honestly like the ultimate biological shrink wrap. It covers your body's surface, like your skin, and it beautifully lines your internal cavities to protect you against invasion and dehydration. Now, contrast that with connective tissue. Instead of tight sheets, its cells are scattered within an extracellular matrix. This is a non-living material that can be solid, liquid, or kind of gel-like. This web-like structure provides vital support and binds things together. Believe it or not, your bones, tendons, and even your blood are all examples of connective tissue. The next 2 teams provide the motion and the messaging for a city. Muscle tissue is made of elongated cells called muscle fibers, and they're packed with proteins that allow them to physically contract. Whether it's the voluntary skeletal muscles letting you walk, the involuntary smooth muscles churning your food behind the scenes, or your cardiac muscle pumping your heart, they handle all the movement. Finally, nervous tissue is your city's telecommunications grid. Composed of neurons, this tissue transmits rapid-fire electrical signals throughout your brain, spinal cord, and nerves. It allows your body to communicate and coordinate instantly. Let's level up to section 3, major body systems, the big city departments. We've got our workers and our teams, so now let's really scale this up. Tissues assemble into distinct structures called organs, but organs rarely ever work alone. They collaborate to form vast systems. This orchestrates a remarkably sophisticated network that allows us to perform everything from foraging for food to evading danger. We have just scaled all the way up from microscopic fibers to full body infrastructure. Your body actually runs on about 11 major systems simultaneously. Just to give you a quick snapshot of this diversity, your skeletal system provides the rigid framework and protects your organs. Your respiratory system acts as the ventilation department, exchanging oxygen and carbon dioxide. The endocrine system regulates functions using chemical hormones, while your immune system, which is your city's defense force, is constantly fighting off invading pathogens. And they are all running right now in perfect harmony. Which brings us to section 4, a deep dive into digestion, the waste and energy processing department. When you really look at it, the digestive system is essentially one continuous, complex tube dedicated to breaking down food and absorbing nutrients. The journey starts in the mouth, where chewing and saliva kick off the breakdown. Food is then pushed down a muscular tube called the esophagus, using these rhythmic, wave-like contractions known as peristalsis. It's kind of like squeezing a tube of toothpaste. It lands in the stomach, which churns it with gastric juices. The resulting mixture moves into the small intestine, which is the major site where chemical digestion finishes and nutrients are actually absorbed. Finally, whatever's left hits the large intestine, which absorbs water before eliminating the waste. It's a remarkably efficient assembly line. Now, what's really fascinating here is how your body utilizes two entirely different strategies to process this energy at the exact same time. Mechanical digestion is the physical smashing of food, chewing in your mouth, and the literal muscular churning of your stomach walls. But physical smashing just isn't enough. You also absolutely need chemical digestion, the enzymatic melting of food. This uses amylase in your saliva to break down carbs, and hydrochloric acid and pepsin in your stomach to dismantle proteins. You need both the physical force and the chemical solvents to extract the energy you need to live. But here's the thing, the stomach and intestines don't do all the chemical work entirely on their own. They rely heavily on vital accessory organs. Now, these organs don't actually hold the food directly, but they act as chemical factories supplying the digestive tract. The liver produces bile to help digest fats. The gallbladder acts as a storage unit to concentrate and release that bile. And the pancreas secretes crucial digestive enzymes and bicarbonate into the small intestine, while also producing hormones like insulin to regulate your blood sugar.
Next up, Section 5, Circulation Deep Dive, our city's transportation network. Once that energy is processed, it has to be delivered to every single worker, every cell in the city. At the center of this massive transit network is a relentless muscular pump, the heart. And the heart is brilliantly divided into 4 chambers, acting as 2 distinct processing sides. The right atrium and right ventricle receive oxygen-poor, deoxygenated blood from the body and pump it straight to the lungs. Meanwhile, the left atrium and left ventricle receive fresh, oxygenated blood back from the lungs and pump it out to the rest of the body. And special valves keep everything flowing smoothly in one uninterrupted direction.
From the pump, the blood travels on 3 very different types of roads. Arteries carry blood away from the heart. Because it's heading out to feed the body, it's usually oxygen-rich, with the one notable exception of the pulmonary artery heading to the lungs. Veins do the exact opposite. They carry blood back to the heart, mostly carrying oxygen-poor blood and waste. And connecting them? The capillaries. These are tiny, super thin-walled side streets where the actual exchange of gases, nutrients, and waste happens directly with the tissues. And what about the actual vehicles on these roads? Well, blood isn't just a red liquid. As we learned earlier, it's a fluid connective tissue carrying highly specialized cargo. It consists of plasma, which is the liquid base holding water and proteins. Floating in that liquid, you have red blood cells packed with hemoglobin to carry oxygen, white blood cells acting as the mobile security force to fight infection, and platelets, which are basically ready to instantly clot and repair any damage to the transit tunnels. Let's move to how this traffic builds into 3 continuous loops of circulation. First, pulmonary circulation routes blood from the heart to the lungs to drop off carbon dioxide and pick up fresh oxygen. Second, systemic circulation pumps that fresh oxygen-rich blood to the entire rest of the body, delivering nutrients and picking up the trash. And third, coronary circulation. This is a specialized loop that supplies oxygen-rich blood directly back into the heart-working muscle of the heart itself, because the pump needs fuel too. Finally, Section 6, homeostasis, the ultimate goal. We have specialized cells forming tissues, organs churning food, and a heart pumping blood across literally miles of vessels. But why? What is the core purpose of all this complex organization? The answer is homeostasis. This is the grand unifying theory of everything we've just learned. Homeostasis is your body's ability to maintain a stable, harmonious internal environment, even when the outside world is totally chaotic. Whether it's freezing cold or blisteringly hot, whether you are fast asleep or in an all-out sprint, your body systems are constantly communicating and adjusting to keep your internal temperature, your fluid balance, and your oxygen levels perfectly stable. Let's look at an extreme example to put this into perspective. Running from a predator. Imagine the coordination happening here. Your sensory organs detect the threat. Instantly, your nervous system fires electrical signals. Your endocrine system dumps adrenaline into your bloodstream. Your muscular system activates so you can run. And to power those muscles, your respiratory system rapidly increases your breathing, and your circulatory system surges, pumping perfectly timed deliveries of oxygen exactly where it's needed. Dozens of departments, all working in hyper-coordinated overdrive just to save your life and maintain balance. It's truly breathtaking when you break it down from these simplest cells to these massive systems. Every single second of your life, millions of processes are happening simultaneously to keep you in a state of homeostasis, which leaves us with a rather provocative thought to end on. If your internal city is constantly rebuilding, defending, communicating, and regulating itself with such absolute precision, completely autonomously, without you ever even having to think about it, who is really running the show? I hope this explainer has given you a profound new respect for the architecture of you. Keep questioning, keep learning, and we'll catch you in the next one.